Welcome back to our channel. Today, we will follow the American fishermen in the waters of Alaska, a place blessed by nature with abundant seafood. Especially herring. This is not just a normal fishing trip, but a story about labor, faith, attachment to the sea and the tireless efforts to bring hundreds of tons of herring from the ocean to the mainland every day. If you have ever imagined fishing as a small boat swaying in the middle of the ocean, then perhaps today you will have a completely different perspective. Because the ships we will board in this video are modern industrial fishing vessels. Hundreds of meters long, equipped with the most advanced technology to be able to operate continuously at sea for weeks, even months, when it was still dark. Each group of ships had already cut through the waves to go out to sea. The sea is as black as ink. The wind blows through the metal sails, and the lights from the decks shine into the sky. Creating a magical scene. On the ship, the sailors begin their shifts. Some prepare the towing lines. Some check the net system. Some check the machinery, the fish-finding radar. All are in sync with each other like a long-programmed machine, full of professionalism and discipline. Herring, a small fish but has great economic value. Considered the gold and silver of the Alaskan Sea. They often move in extremely large schools. Millions of fish gather together to form long black streaks on the ocean floor. That also means, if a large school of fish is caught, the ship can collect hundreds of tons of fish in just a few hours. The ships use giant bottom trawls, longer than a football field, with the mouth of the net opening like a giant funnel to swallow the school of fish passing by. When the radar and sonar detect the school of fish, the captain quickly approaches the ship and lowers the net. All operations are controlled through a modern automation system. But the hands and eyes of experienced people are still needed to ensure everything goes smoothly. The moment the net is pulled up, the herrings wriggle in the spotlight like thousands of silver scales flashing under the moonlight. The sound of machinery, the shouts of command, the hurried footsteps of the sailors, all create a symphony of the sea. The atmosphere is bustling, tense but also full of excitement, because everyone understands. This is the moment that determines the results after hours of drifting to find the school of fish. As soon as the fish are brought to the deck, they are transferred directly to the classification and preliminary processing system right on the ship. The ship is equipped with a miniature factory, where the fish are washed, classified, and super fast frozen within minutes to maintain absolute freshness. Some are deboned, canned or vacuum packed right at sea, ready to be brought back to the mainland after just one boat trip. All stages take place continuously, without stopping. Sailors work in shifts of 12 hours a day, sometimes eating and sleeping right next to the machines, just to ensure that the fish are processed as quickly as possible. Because if there is a delay, hundreds of tons of fish will quickly spoil, causing great damage both economically and in terms of effort. But the trip is not always smooth. There are days when storms come suddenly. Waves are higher than the roof of the ship. The wind howls as if it wants to sweep both people and boats into the ocean. At those times, everyone has to put aside fishing, strain their eyes to control the ship, keep their balance, and fight against the fierce nature. Some people get seasick and lie down all day. Some are injured when their nets get stuck. But after the storm, everyone returns to their positions. as if nothing had happened, because they understand. The ocean is like that. Fierce but also generous. It's not just about catching and processing. Behind each trip is an entire industrial ecosystem. After being brought back to land, the herring is transferred to larger factories to continue filtering, drying, making animal feed, extracting fish oil or processing into dishes such as pickled herring, canned herring. From those small fish, millions of dollars are created. Thousands of workers have jobs. And the US seafood export industry also relies on it to maintain and develop. We also cannot help but mention the small but touching stories on the ship. Some people are going to sea for the first time, bewildered and worried. Some have been in the profession for 20 years. Considering the sea as home, there are hasty meals between shifts, with just a little dried fish, cold rice and a cold cup of coffee. But everyone is happy because they have hit the big fish. There are evenings when we gather together to tell old stories. Listen to country music, or simply watch the moonlight shine down on the ocean, and our hearts feel strangely peaceful. If seafaring is a difficult job, then herring fishing is one of the jobs that requires patience, endurance and good coordination of the whole team. On the outside, herring are small, not as majestic as tuna or as luxurious as lobster, but in the world of Alaskan fishermen, they are a valuable source of life. Each trip to sea is a gamble with nature, with the weather, and with luck, because it is not always possible to find the right school of fish at the right time. From the modern ship fishing off the coast of Alaska, many people still cannot help but think of the rustic wooden boats and sampans in their homeland of Vietnam. In Vietnam, herring fishermen also exist, especially in coastal areas such as Quang Ngai, Binh Dinh or Phu Yen, but the way they do it is very different. Herring in Vietnam is often caught by casting nets close to shore in the early morning. Fishermen go on small boats, use their experience to determine the direction of the fish, pull in small batches, from a few dozen kilos to a few hundred kilos, and they are very happy. Meanwhile, in the US, a huge industrial system is mobilized. From radar, satellites to freezers, vacuum machines, all of which are invested in modernity, optimizing productivity and quality. Regarding the working environment, Vietnamese fishermen are used to the father-to-son way. Manual labor is the main thing. Income is not high and unstable according to the season. On the contrary, on industrial fishing vessels in the US, each person has a clear role: the net operator, the processing person, the machine system person, with contracts, insurance, days off, and quite high income. Some people can earn tens of thousands of dollars after going to sea for several months. But modernity does not come without a price. Bottom trawling, although highly effective, also causes a lot of controversy among environmentalists. When giant nets are scraped close to the seabed, they can drag along non-target species such as corals, sea turtles, and juvenile fish, affecting the ecosystem. In addition, continuous exploitation on a large scale has caused a significant decline in herring stocks in some areas. That is also the reason why the US government requires fleets to strictly comply with quotas. That is, they can only catch a certain amount of output each year. Some areas also apply a sea ban to protect the fish's breeding season. In Vietnam, herring fishing is still mainly done in the traditional way, so the impact on the environment may be less. But the use of small nets and catching juvenile fish is also a warning issue. The polluted marine environment, plastic waste, agricultural chemicals from the mainland flowing into the sea, etc. also have a significant impact on coastal aquatic resources. Protecting the marine environment is a long story, requiring the efforts of not only fishermen but also the community and the government. Returning to herring, a small but powerful fish, its nutritional value cannot be underestimated. Herring contains a lot of omega-3, vitamin D protein, which is good for the heart, brain and joints. Therefore, herring has long been a familiar dish in many countries. In the US and Europe, herring is used to make salads. Pickled herring, smoked herring, popular dishes for breakfast or drinking parties. In Japan, people eat grilled herring with rice, or dry herring as an appetizer. In Vietnam, fried herring with fish sauce, garlic and chili, or herring salad with herbs, grated coconut, rice paper, are famous specialties of Phu Quoc. Wherever you are, herring is still associated with human life, not only as food but also as culture, as childhood memories, as stories about fishing villages, about family meals, in Alaska or Vietnam, although the fishing methods are different. The fisherman's feelings towards the sea are still the same: honest, hard-working, and always hoping for a big hit trip. And so, in the middle of the vast ocean, modern ships still work silently without rest, going out to sea day and night, bringing in full batches of herring. Not just simply fishing, everything is organized as a closed production line, where each step, each operation is carefully calculated to ensure the best quality for the product. As soon as the net is pulled up, the herring is put into the automatic classification system. The fish that meet the standards, in terms of size, freshness, will be immediately taken to the quick freezing area. Others are transferred directly to the preliminary processing department. Here, workers will quickly clean, remove impurities, then transfer to the vacuum packaging line, ensuring that the fish still retains its original flavor even after a long journey to supermarkets in Europe. Japan or Korea. An interesting thing is that no matter how modern and industrial the environment is, fishermen still retain the rustic character of seafarers. They joked with each other during breaks, sipping hot coffee in the chilly weather, and telling each other stories about their families, their long trips, and the first time they caught a huge catch of fish. Small stories, but enough to warm the whole ship in the middle of the cold sea. Ask them why they still stick with the job, despite all the hardships and dangers. Someone smiled and said simply, "I have been at sea since I was 18. Now I am over 40, and I miss the smell of the sea. The sea is hard, but I can raise my children, build a house, and live. That is enough." Indeed, the herring industry not only feeds thousands of families in the US, especially in Alaska, but also plays an important role in the global food supply chain. Hundreds of thousands of tons of herring are exported each year, bringing in billions of dollars for the U.S. seafood industry. In many coastal towns, fishing is the heart of the economy, creating jobs for people, from fishermen, air conditioning engineers, to transport drivers, and processing plant workers. Not only that, fishing also contributes to preserving local cultural identity. Every year, people in the Alaskan coastal region hold a festival to celebrate the herring season. With traditional dances, dishes, and fishing ceremonies, similar to the fishing festivals in fishing villages in central Vietnam. Despite the great geographical distance, the culture of the sea has a very strange harmony, when people everywhere turn to the sea with gratitude and respect. However, everything has two sides. The rapid and strong development of the industrial fishing industry is posing a significant challenge to the future of the sea. The sea is getting hotter. The ocean currents are changing, causing fish populations to move erratically. In addition, long-term high-intensity fishing has caused the number of herring in some areas to begin to decline. This is a wake-up call for the whole world, not just the US or Vietnam. Environmental experts have repeatedly warned about the negative impacts of bottom trawling, not only because it disrupts the marine ecosystem, but also because it can destroy the habitat of other aquatic species. Seriously affecting biodiversity. Some international marine conservation organizations have proposed solutions such as banning fishing during the breeding season, using selective nets, and increasing electronic monitoring on fishing vessels to control catches. In the US, these measures are being applied more strictly. Fishing vessels are required to fully declare information. Have GPS tracking systems, and are regularly inspected by authorities. If they violate quotas or fish out of season, they can be heavily fined, even have their operating licenses revoked. The goal is to ensure the sustainability of the fisheries sector, both preserving fish stocks and protecting long-term livelihoods for fishermen. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, the transition to sustainable fishing is still fraught with difficulties. Most fishing vessels are small, equipment is outdated, and logging or reporting of catches is not yet widely practiced. However, positive signs are gradually emerging, such as many localities starting to apply satellite-based fishing vessel tracking technology, testing environmentally friendly fishing methods, and promoting awareness of marine protection among the fishing community. Not only is it an indispensable part of the economy, herring fishing is also a place to preserve the cultural values. Spiritual life and cuisine of coastal people, both in the US and Vietnam. In the US, herring is not simply food. It is a symbol of the harvest, the beginning of spring when the first herring schools reach the shore. Native Alaskans, Scandinavian Americans or Asian communities living on the coast all have traditional dishes made from herring. Herring is smoked, pickled, marinated with onions, mustard, or simply grilled over charcoal and eaten with rye bread. Each preparation is a story. A slice of memory and culture. Americans highly value the nutritional value of herring. This is one of the fish richest in omega-3, surpassing salmon. Very good for the heart and brain. Elderly people often use herring to supplement nutrients, while young families consider it a healthy food source for their children. They eat herring for breakfast, in salads for lunch, or as an appetizer at family parties. In some states, herring is also considered a lucky dish at the beginning of the new year. Like the way Vietnamese people eat snakehead fish on the Tet tray to pray for everything to go smoothly. In Vietnam, although herring is not as famous as mackerel, tuna or mackerel, it has its own place in coastal cuisine, especially in the south-central region and Phu Quoc Island. Fresh herring is made into salad with grated coconut, onions, roasted peanuts and grilled rice paper. This dish is not elaborate, but rich and rustic, carrying both the flavor of the sea and the love of the people of the central region. Not only that, herring is also used to braise, deep fry and eat with rice, make sausages or braise with chili fish sauce. Each dish is a way for people to preserve their love for the sea, for the profession, and for their childhood memories. Children who grow up by the waves. Familiar with the smell of fish drying in the sun, will grow up and forever tell stories about the first batches of herring their fathers brought home, as a part of their memories that will never fade. But if we talk about the difference between the herring industry in the US and Vietnam, perhaps the most obvious is the scale and technology. In the US, especially in Alaska or Oregon, herring fishing boats can be tens of meters long, equipped with hydraulic tractors, satellite positioning systems, ultrasonic sensors to detect fish, and freezing and processing lines right on the boat. When a school of herring is discovered, the boat will drop a giant bottom trawl, sweeping through each stretch of water like a rice harvester in the field. After just a few hours, hundreds of tons of fish have been brought to the deck, frozen and packaged. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, most herring fishing still takes place on small-capacity wooden boats. Fishermen go out to sea based on experience, the tide schedule, and the tips passed down from their ancestors, watching birds fly, looking at the color of the water, listening to the waves. The batches of fish are usually smaller, and the preliminary processing stage must be brought ashore, then transferred to processing facilities by hand, although the efficiency is lower. In return, the Vietnamese fishing industry retains its artisanal, intimate features, and many products, such as Phu Quoc herring salad, have become specialties loved by domestic and foreign tourists. Of course, besides being technologically backward, the Vietnamese fishing industry is also facing many challenges such as lack of capital, lack of insurance for fishermen, degraded fishing port infrastructure, and especially the situation of overfishing due to lack of control, the use of small nets, preservatives, and off-season fishing have caused herring resources in some sea areas to show signs of serious decline. Without strict protection policies, the risk of resource depletion is possible. In contrast, the United States is at the forefront of sustainable fisheries. For many years, the seas have been divided into controlled fishing grounds, where only a certain amount of fish can be caught. In the right season, using the right methods, all fishing vessels must have electronic logbooks. Surveillance cameras, and GPS. Each year, the government reviews fish stocks and adjusts quotas to suit the actual situation. The goal is not only to ensure the safety of fishermen, but also to preserve the marine environment for future generations. One of the unique features of the U.S. fisheries industry is the close connection between science, policy, and practice. Oceanographers regularly coordinate with fishermen to survey and assess fish stocks. Local governments regularly organize seminars and training courses to help fishermen update new technologies, understand international laws, and thereby improve the efficiency and sustainability of the profession. Herring after landing, from processing plant to international dining table. Role in export, daily stories of fishermen, and ending with an emotional message. If you want me to put the whole thing together as a document, or need a different version, e.g. with music, or speed reading video commentary, just let me know. After a long journey at sea, the fresh herring when landing are not simply a catch. They are the result of sweat, effort, even blood and tears of many fishermen. But that's not the end. After landing, the herring are immediately taken to modern processing plants, where time is counted by the second, and quality is controlled down to the smallest detail. At the portside plants in the U.S., the herring processing process is like a race against time to maintain maximum freshness. Each fish is put through a washing system, sorted by size, then deboned or left whole. Some batches are used to make canned herring. Some are frozen for export. Some are used to make fish oil, fish meal for the pharmaceutical industry and animal feed. No part is wasted. All are used scientifically and effectively. Every day, hundreds of tons of herring from major seaports such as Dutch Harbor, Kodiak or Newport extend the supply chain, from refrigerated trucks to large warehouses, then onto containers across the US and exported to Europe, Japan, Korea, and even Vietnam. In each place, herring is transformed into different dishes, from refreshing sushi to rich smoked herring, or fresh herring salad rolled with vegetables and rice paper that Vietnamese people are familiar with. Looking at that journey, we can see that a small herring is not simply food. It is a symbol of global connection, a bridge between the sea and the dining table, between workers and consumers, between tradition and modernity. In Vietnam, although the scale of processing is not large, many places have begun to apply new technology, build clean processing facilities, invest in cold storage and packaging lines that meet export standards. In Phu Quoc, Can Hoa, Binh Thuan, small fish factories are now gradually becoming more